Hello and welcome back to Showtime number 12. In part 1 we just casually looked at a few games where we did quite well with good cooperation and good awareness of where we were doing, what we were doing and what our teammates were doing. So it was really nice to see that. In part 2 we're going to see where things don't go so smoothly but you can still pull off a win. And also I'm going to talk about capping versus killing people. Now, when I first started playing World of Tanks, and for the first 4,000 games in Total World Steel last year, I used to always favour capping. I was all for the win. I didn't like playing the game in ultra strategic mode. I was very impatient. I didn't have much time free. So it was a case of I joined the game. I would aggressively push one direction and do my best to win that side. I won't like push a little bit, see that it was heavily defended and reposition somewhere else where it was weaker. I'll just brute force my way through. If I died, I died, but I usually spearheaded my way to victory. I had a huge win ratio compared to most people of my experience at 56%, and it was due to the fact that I was capping a lot. Now, I always complained at people who were complaining that we were capping. It was like, oh, don't cap, kill all. And I was like, no, to me, the most important thing is winning. I wasn't caring about experience or silver or anything like that. I just wanted to win. That's the sort of person I am. It's like, not at any cost to win, but I prioritize winning over XP and silver. I don't even think about the cost of that repair kit or the cost of ammo. I will just fire. If there's a 1% chance to hit, I'll fire. I don't care about my hit accuracy percentage. I don't care about the silver cost. Purely, do I have enough ammo to kill that person? Can I even have a chance of killing them? I'll take the chance. Even if it's yellow and I'm not going to die for shooting, I will take the shot because I feel, and as the chieftain said himself, the army do not pay you to bring ammo back. They pay you to fire the ammo. So to me, that's what I used to play like. However, it's not the most efficient way to play. If you want to get silver and experience, it is better to kill everything. If you're not so worried about your win percentage and you're just worried about actually leveling up and getting new tanks and getting more silver, then just playing slow and steady, keeping alive and trying to kill the opponent is the best way. I was talking to Circon today about it, and he was actually, we're comparing stats, and although I've got a much higher win percentage than him, he's got way more experience per battle, he's got way more damage per battle, although he hasn't survived more battles than me, which is shocking. Generally speaking, what's happened with him is that he used a lot of gold for free experience and he jumped up to the bigger tanks, and he was playing a lot bigger tanks than me, but he was also playing them very aggressively, very smartly, and generally speaking getting a lot of badass experience and silver. We were checking our stats out, and although there was not much difference, the big difference was that he barely ever capped, and that's the difference in win percentage, was that at first. However, he's become such a good player from just constantly playing. I mean, he's done like 5,000 battles in 2 months or something ridiculous. He's become such a good player that he can actually brute force his way to victory, but just by outplaying the opponents. And that way, his stats look amazing, like 2,000 efficiency in every department. It's very good. I mean, Quickie Baby's got nothing on him, right? He's just that good at the moment. He lacks some knowledge with some maps, I guess, and some tanks, but basically he's got so much experience with playing that he realizes that he just does better by killing everything. He doesn't even attempt to cap. It's like no point. And that's why his win percentage is below mine. And I feel in two minds about it. Recently, after Earl Still, when I was pointed out by the pro players, they turned around to me and said, "You're just a stat whore." And I was like, "What, me? I'm not a stat whore." They go, "Yeah, all you do is cap because you know that caps inflate your efficiency." And I was like, what are you on about? No, I don't. And after talking to them a while, they explained why some people go, like, they play their top tiers to get the damage and kills. Damage. And then they go to tier 1 to get the kills and cap points. So they get, like, average of 5 to 6 kills in their tier 1, and they get loads of cap points every game. But then they go and get the damage per game from their tier 10s with the big guns. And they were just inflating their stats that way. And that's why there's more and more stat sites going per tank and not overall. Sorry, excuse me. Anyway, so back to the experience capping versus killing all. I still think there's a time and a place for a cap. If you realize that the enemy have outpositioned you and you should cap, then you should cap. If the enemy are bearing down upon you and you're in the cap circle and you're massively in the open and they can easily kill you, abandon the cap. Even no matter how close you are, just abandon the cap and try and fight them off. because you're going to lose and you won't gain anything for sitting there and taking damage. So basically what I'm trying to say is that if you want to become a better player, in general, avoid capping. You should play it easy, think about things, and reposition to make the battles longer. Playing fewer battles but more effectively will earn you a lot more experience, a lot more silver, than playing loads of battles suiciding against a wall of enemies at the start of the battle and then respawning. And that's where the topic of today is, where if you're well rested, you have a lot more patience and a lot more free brain power to actually play the game well. Whereas if you're tired and exhausted and you play the game, you're just gonna suicide or get bored or frustrated and angry. So I certainly would recommend that you have a rest. If you feel tired and you want to really learn to play and you want to be better at playing, I would actually recommend taking a nap, a 5-10 minute nap, and then go and play again. Get coffee or tea or a glass of water and then play. If you feel frustrated, go for a jog, do some press-ups, do some sit-ups, relax, and then play. And you'll see your results improve dramatically. And that's what I've been trying to do recently. And it's been doing really well. So I'm going to load up the game that's a little bit frustrating. And remember to stick around, guys, because I will take questions from you at the end if you've got anything you want to ask. And yeah, come on, load up, load up. Load up. There we go. Okay, so we realize we're in a tier 7 battle, and there's a lot of tier 7s, like over 50%. In fact, we are the only tier 6s on our team that aren't scouts. And I'm taking the AMX 12-ton and the AMX 20, so the EOC and the A20 as scouts, even though these are very powerful at this tier. In their team, they have 3 themselves, plus a KV-1, so I like our lineup a lot more. However, as you see, as we fast forward it a little bit more. Okay. I initially planned to go over to the right. I normally go south, but recently I've decided to change my ways because, and actually I'll go through that. Going always the same way on a map may not be the best idea. Like I normally, my first half of my games always went the same way on every map because I know that way. It feels safer for me. I know it. I know that way, so it's just better. But going the other way occasionally will help you realize the advantages and disadvantages. And I really recommend that each game, you just randomly pick a direction and go until you know the maps. And then you can start thinking, okay, so we've got these tanks going here, these tanks going, and then you can make your own decisions. So I start going north because I want to learn the north. I realize on this map, I really don't know it. I always go to the south and I just don't know the north. But looking at the positions of our troops, of our teammates, so many come to the north that it's probably not worth it. So at the moment, I'm really looking at what's going on. I see this, and you see me here, I'm turning, and I'm just going to have a look to see if I can see this guy who's suiciding as well, guys. And then I'm looking at the minimap, looking at the minimap, looking at the minimap. Looking at the okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, there's a lot, 5. There's a lot of guys down here. There was a 6. There's 2 guys over there. Okay. We haven't got many over here. 7. Okay, this is getting busy. And then, oh god, there's so many down here. So I'm now going, hey guys, you got to pay attention to the minimap because we've got a handful of tanks here to combat this massive push. And you actually see that I ping on the minimap and do the SOS call. So I go G7 SOS. Still, these tanks move over here. It's like, oh, I'm not going where the enemies are going. So I'm at the moment swearing about my teammates. And oh, this shot here, by the way, is I was seeing if the HE would bounce or curl around the bridge. I wasn't so sure if it would work, and it didn't. I was like, it's quite a big AoE splash. I'll see if it can hit him, but it didn't. And here we go. I'm still trying to talk to the teammates. I'm not paying attention. I miss a perfectly good shot here because I'm too busy talking. That's the disadvantage of communicating with your team, but I really thought at this point we really needed teammates to come back. If you notice here, the line over here is broken apart from the SU. Luckily the SU is an amazing tank. And keep an eye on the SU's kills, because he's got 1 at the moment. Hummel's trying to run, but he gets taken out. But luckily, the damage is getting dealt by us. Sam managed to get an amazing shot and one-shot the Panther. Did like 890 odd damage to that guy in the hatch right on top of there. So that was really, really crucial. And over there we have Terror Clown in the SU-122. So at the moment I'm really worried about this. The fact that these guys are still over here. And I'm like, seriously guys, what the hell are you doing? Although we've managed to kill a lot of the guys over here, there is no need for that many of our tanks to be heading over this direction. Look at how many there is, and there's like a T-20. There's just no need for it. So at this point, there are still some enemies coming, and I notice you've got to keep an eye on the enemy positions. We know there's an enemy on this bridge, so that's a good thing to remember. I'm telling the SU-122 that he's done a great job defending, because if it wasn't for him and us, we would have lost the base a long time ago. They would have won by capping by now. I know that there's a TD coming, so I'm driving up the hill in sniper, knowing that he's there, and boom, got it. So being aware of where your teammates are and where your enemies are is really important. However, I feel really bad because the enemy was going quite slow, and Terror has been left on his own. And I'm up on the bridge now, and I'm trying to aim at this guy, and I realised that my aim couldn't go any further down. Look, my aim couldn't go any further down, but I didn't readjust. I just try and take the shot, and my reload was just ever so slightly too short. That I take the shot anyway, and that was ridiculous. I shouldn't have done that, especially when there's a Black Prince right there with his side to me, which would have saved Terror Clown. So I feel really bad at this point and think that I'm such a noob. But I decide to press T to show that I am actually targeting him now, and I will destroy him very shortly. As you notice, our team is all there chasing singular enemy tanks while our base is under threat. And it's just ridiculous. We're so fortunate that Sam was able to one-shot the Panther, and the SU-122 was able to do so much damage and hold them back. The enemy were pretty cowardly. If you ever do a lemming train, you just got to keep pushing. And at this point, I'm trying to get an angle on this guy from the bridge without having to go down because of how slow we are. But as you'll see, it doesn't really matter. We're going to win from our capping. And what? Dinged him. I was so like, really, guys? And there we go. And Sam managed to finish him off. So that was actually a really crazy game that I thought we should have lost, right? I thought we had lost this. So many enemies are pushing through here. There's only 3 of us versus like 7 of them. But the enemy come one by one, and that allows us to deal with them. And that was really good. It was the first battle, or in fact the only battle, that I didn't come top, and I don't think I saved the scores. The SU-122 got quite a lot, and so did some of the other guys who led the lemming train against the few enemy defenders. But we still were, I think, 4th and 5th, almost the same XP. So that wasn't too bad. We were in the right tank at the right time. If we were in any other sort of tank, if we were in mediums or something, we probably would have been overrun. But because we were in the slow, heavy tank, the KV-2, we were able to hold our own, and that was a good thing. So, yeah, cool. We've got enough time for another battle, and we'll end with, in part 3, 2 Sherman battles. But let's go through the Churchill one. Now, we were playing around tier 5, and that's just generally speaking what we were doing. So I was complaining that I don't really like slow tanks. We played the KV-2 and then we played the Churchill, and I was thinking, oh, I really don't like playing slow tanks. It's just not my thing. I find them just like they never get to battle on time, and they never, you know, unless they're defending, it's just boring to play. And Sam takes note of this, and in his Type T-34 decides to help me a little by pushing. Now, if you're in a platoon, I wouldn't recommend doing this with just anybody, because sometimes people get angry because they don't realise what they're doing. But I'll fast forward it, and you can see that Sam's helping me push me into battle and keep my speed up, so that I'm actually staying on the front line in a Churchill. And that's really cool. We get to the front line, and we can see that there's a lot of enemy tanks here. Target-rich environment, so I'm sitting behind the bushes, and I'm just going to deal with them. Here they go. Bang. You got to know that if you go up on the bridge here, you are vulnerable to a lot of angles, and this was just too easy to take out. And then I couldn't believe my luck. There was someone else there in his M4 on the bridge. So I take another shot. Brilliant. I was like, this is just free XP. It's a pinata of XP. The enemy team just really want to help us. And again, I was unfortunate not to be able to kill the SU, but he gave me a second chance. Instead of reversing out of view, he decides to turn his side to me, and I was able to take the second shot and take him out. So at this point, I realized that this guy's just hiding behind the sign, so I take the sign out. And then I go for him. But at this point, he runs away, and then there's other enemies just sat in the open, so I thought I'd just take a shot at him. Wasn't able to kill him, but my teammate was able to finish him up. And I can't really get a good angle on the M4. I can only bounce off him or hit the tank in front of him. So at this point, I kind of give up and I go over to the other side. So I'm just going to fast forward it a bit, take a few more shots and don't really do much. The Lorraine hits me, or something hit me really hard there. So I decide that I better move position anyway. And I realised that we're actually doing really well again, so it's just a type of pushing and getting ahead. So I just want to fast forward it a little bit, and we're going to come around the corner, and I take a rush shot thinking that I must be able to kill this guy, but I wasn't able to penetrate because I didn't aim. And that's why, guys, you should always aim. Even if it looks like you should just snapshot, sometimes you should just aim. However, I had loads of teammates there, so it wasn't too imperative. Now this is something really important. KV1 from the front. What do? Sit back and snipe because you got more tanks? No. In this situation, the KV1 has a good chance of winning. He would one-shot the Stug if he's good, then he would take out the Panzer IV, or take out the Panzer IV first, depending on what the gun the Panzer IV has, and then the Churchill can be taken out next. There's no problem for a KV1 to win in that situation. So what I do is I keep driving. I rely on the fact that he wants to take out the Stug first, and I'm going to go around the back of him here. I shot to the flat plate at the top, as we all know is the big weak spot. Get around the side of him, but luckily we had a Stug behind him anyway, and he is destroyed. But never sit back and snipe when they're in the open like that. Pack them. If you've got 3 guys, he's only 1, you should always surround them. Try and get to their weaker armor. I do a quick snapshot there, and I was able to take him down to 6 HP. I wasn't expecting that shot to hit, but you know, it did, so I was happy with that. And Sam decides that he's going to go take out the artillery, but I was able to hit the track. However, Sam takes it to the face and was blown up. The enemy platoon, number 1, then tries to taunt us. They're hiding in this corner here, saying that we shouldn't we should fight them. Now, the fact is, they are hiding in the corner themselves. They're not actually coming back. That BDR looks like he's coming back, but when I go up here, he's not. He's just hanging back. So they're saying that we're cowards for capping, but they're not actually trying to come back, because they realised that we would set up defensive positions and take them out. So I'll just fast forward this guy. I don't think anything else happens. Cowards, they say. As you see, they're actually hanging back really far. So that's the end of that. And I do have the screenshot for this one, which was the Churchill. And the Churchill's there. Bang. And that was 676. As you see, it was actually really well shared out again from the top few tanks. And the enemy tanks that survived got almost nothing, proving that they were actually useless. Avoiding where the main fight is actually a really bad idea. Not only do you get less experience points, you don't contribute to the win. They may have survived, they may have bitched to their teammates and said, you guys are noobs, we survived, we kicked ass. They didn't. They obviously didn't kick ass, and they were not involved in the battle. So being cowards and hiding away, or being safe, doesn't make you a good player. Surviving lots does not make you a good player. Surviving and doing damage, that makes you a good player. As long as you're not the guy who sat so far behind that the only reason you're getting damage is because your teammates are dying for you. However, there are a time and a place. You can't all be frontline brawlers, you can't all be snipers. As long as you've got a good balance in your team, you do a lot better. Anyway, after one more song, we'll come back to 2 M4 games, where we have a bit of fun in our medium tier 5s. Where I was asked by Sam if the derp cannon on the M4 is any good and worth taking over the rapid fire gun, where I obviously say, well, yes it is.